Hi and welcome to 4545s, the first in a series of 4 vlogs where I'll be talking about 45 of my favourite 7-inch records, 45 RPMs. I am going to be 45 next year, so it's an idea. I thought, well, I'll do that when I turn 45. With the current climate, current situation with COVID-19, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it just now and see if it works or not. So I'm going to do part 1, which is me talking about 10 of my favourite 7-inch records, and I thought I'd start with the 2 7-inch records I remember getting first, and they were Letter from America by the Proclaimers and Got My Mind Set on You by George Harrison. And both of these records came out in 1987 when I was 11, and I think the Proclaimers, really bold, booming Scottish broad accents coming out on top of the pops was quite something. I think it got the whole country talking, not just Scotland. The fact they were twins, they were so visual, they were so, I don't know, their sound was just something that it wasn't really part of popular culture. And they did so well with Letter from America, and there's fantastic songs from that time. And so yeah, my mum bought me the 7-inch, and she also bought me the 7-inch of George Harrison, Got My Mind Set on You. Being an ex-Beatle, I think my parents were quite keen for me to check out the Beatles, and I did. My dad had a cassette that he played in the car quite a bit. It was the 20 greatest hits. It was kind of a white cover, which I quickly procured and kind of started to get into the Beatles at quite a young age. It was all, I'm pretty sure in that album it's all early Beatles stuff. So it was all She Loves You up to maybe I Feel Fine, but it was just great to start to get into music. So yeah, they're 1 and 2 on my list of 10, on my list of 45 in fact. Numbers 3 and 4 are Movin' On Up by Primal and Born of Frustration by James, and I got these in 1992, I think, and I got them from Our Price Records in Hamilton. I'm from a town called Cralook, and my mum's from Hamilton, so we would go to Hamilton quite a bit for like a big shop, because there's a Marks and Spencer's there, John Menzies, Woolworths, sports shops. There was Our Price, and there was an independent record shop called Impulse Records. And so yeah, I got Born of Frustration and Moving On Up. I've blogged quite a bit about Primal Scream and Screamadelica and Moving On Up, and seeing Bobby Gillespie in his satin shirt bopping about like a young Mick Jagger. It was quite something, and I really wanted to check this band out. And then James I'd got into their Goldmother album, and I was keen to see how they followed it up, and they followed it up by really, I think, expanding their sound with Born of Frustration sounds and songs from the 7 album. And yeah, at that time I was 16, and I broke my leg just before I went into 6th year. So I spent the summer listening to music while everyone else was really kind of out and socialising. But I always remember those 2 7-inches, and yeah, I was like a musical sponge at that time. I was buying the Enemy and Melody Maker every week and checking out new sounds and new bands. And back then, you either really listened to the evening session or waited for the indie section of the chart show to come on, or you had to go out and buy them. The next 2 7-inches are 7-inches that I bought from Missing Records on Oswald Street. I would go there quite a lot. They had a great record selection there, and a second-hand section as well. So I kind of really started to build up my record collection from Missing Records more than any other record shop. It was very important to me in my teenage years. I'd go there a lot, especially after I started working. I'd go there after work most days to browse the records before I got the train home. And I got 2 records by, the first one is a 7-inch record called Babe Come Down by Sammy, an American lo-fi kind of slacker indie rock pop band, which is really brilliant raw melodic guitars, and a very super cool hook. And the cover is this kind of car and a sunny day, and it just looks great, and thankfully the record was great. And then I got a record called Superhero by a band called Smudge, an Australian band, who I never fell for at the time. I don't know why I didn't, maybe because they didn't play live much or what, but I've really got into them in the last couple of years through my love of the Lemonheads. And the singer of Smudge, Tom Morgan, co-wrote a lot of Lemonheads tracks with Evan Dando, and Evan Dando covered quite a lot of Smudge tracks as well. Down About It and Divan But Tom Morgan co-wrote a lot of the songs on It's a Shame About Ray and Come On Feel the Lemonheads. And yeah, they're just two records I bought because I like the covers. Numbers 7 and 8 on the first in the series of 45/45s. The first one's a split 7-inch by Nirvana and Jesus Lizard. The Jesus Lizard track Puss and Nirvana track Oh the Guilt. And I got this out of Tower Records in Glasgow. A big, huge store over 3, might even have been 4 levels, in the centre of Glasgow, next to Glasgow Central. And it used to be open till midnight, so I used to go there a lot after being out in Glasgow. I'd go in there before getting the last train home and inevitably buy a CD or record. Tower Records was closing down, really because it was overpriced, and Fopp had opened round the corner. It was selling CDs and vinyl for £5, whereas Tower Records was selling for like £15. So I went in opportunistically and bought 4 copies of this 7-inch single, coloured vinyl, for like 99p each. Walked around the corner to Missing Records, and I asked if I could exchange 2 of them for a 7-inch they had up on their wall. They always kept the kind of good stuff up on the wall behind the counter, and it was an original Everything Flows by Teenage Fanclub, which was £24, and which was quite a lot of money back then for a 7-inch single. I don't know what year this would have been, maybe 94 or something. And yeah, so I've still got 2 copies of the Nirvana Jesus Lizard single, and I've got now a signed copy of Everything Flows by Teenage Fanclub, their first 7-inch. So good memories of just like literally walking around the corner and getting this record that I really wanted. Brilliant. And lastly, the next 2, in fact I'll talk about this one first. Mrs. Robinson by the Lemonheads is a song that came out in 93, I guess it must have been. In fact, it might have been earlier. And I mean, this song was everywhere. Evan Dandel looked super cool with his long hair, playing this bubblegum pop punk version of the Simon and Garfunkel song, and I just thought it looked really cool, and the song was really cool, the band was really cool. And I got the 7-inch, which came in like a kind of childlike drawing, painting. Loved it, jumped about my bedroom to it, playing air guitar, and my sister, who's like nearly 10 years younger than me, would jump about. So I was maybe 17, she was 7 or 8, and that was kind of our song. We'd jump about and just have fun to this brilliant pop punk song cover, which I don't really listen to now. When I listen to It's a Shame About Ray, I think I might have probably played it to death when I was young. And the B-side, Being Around, became a real favourite of ours, a very clever, playful, melodic song with a good bit of humour in it, and I like to think that had a lasting impact on my sister, who's gone on to write very melodic, clever, playful songs. So yeah, I really like that 7-inch by the Lemonheads. And number 10 in my 45/45s is Kylie's Got a Crush on Us by BMX Bandits, a record I bought from Impulse Records in Motherwell. After I left school, I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do, and I kind of fell into this YTS computing accountancy course that paid £35 a week, and I'd tend to go to Missing Records, Impulse Records, in Motherwell, and buy a record every week. And I bought the 7-inch and CD single of this. I really like this song. It's got great B-sides as well. Next Girl and Hole in My Heart, I think it is. And yeah, I'd seen this mini documentary on BBC called The Bells Hill Beat, presented by Douglas from BMX Bandits. And in it, the band they busk this song in Buchanan Street. And I just thought, this is so cool, this song about Kylie Minogue by a band from Bells Hill. And yeah, I still really love that song, love that 7-inch. And that's the first in the series of 45/45s. I hope you enjoy it.